Hello, good morning, dear students. Once again, it's a matter of great pleasure for me to be with you once again in this YouTube video lecture series. So, dear friends, I heartily welcome all the students of English literature and all the literary personalities who loves to read the poems of Robert Burns. So dear friends, it's my humble request to use your earplugs for better audio result, and I also request you to keep a notebook to jot down the important points of this YouTube video lecture. So dear friends, today I am going to make a discussion on Robert Burns and his famous poem Red Red Rose, because Robert Burns' the poem Red Red Rose is already there in the syllabus of BA Semester 2 paper number CC201 in the third unit. So dear students, I have divided this lecture into two parts, and in the first part I will make discussion on Robert Burns, his lifespan, his major works and his literary contribution. And in the second part I will make discussion on Robert Burns' very famous poem Red Red Rose. So dear friends, we have seen a red rose many times. It looks very beautiful, and a red rose, we know that, is a symbol of love. This poem, A Red Red Rose, has gained a lot of popularity across the globe since its publication. But dear friends, before to make discussion on this very famous poem, Red Red Rose, it is very necessary for all of us to have the acquaintance with the Robert Burns, his literary career, his lifespan, and his major works. So, dear students, let us see the lifespan and major literary works of Robert Burns in the first part of this video lecture. So, dear friends, in the slide you can see the syllabus of BA Semester 2 of Special English paper number CC201, and the name of this paper is Introduction to the Forms of Literature, especially verse. So here in the slide you can see there are 4 units, or what we can say that 4 units are given in this slide or in this paper. In first unit, 2 topics are there, or you can see that the 2 literary forms are given in this first unit, and these are epic as a form of literature and ballad as a form of literature. So dear students, these 2 literary forms are there to learn in the first unit. In the second unit, 2 writers are given with their works, and they are John Keats with his work La Belle Damson's Mercy. Second, you have Thomas Hardy with his work Her Immortality. In the third unit, once again 2 writers are given, or what we can say that 2 poets are given with their very famous works, and they are Robert Burns with his very famous poem Red Red Rose. The another great poet is W.B. Yeats with his poem When You Are Old. So dear students, In the fourth unit, you can see some acquaintances are given. So these acquaintances are divided into two parts according to their literary forms. So here in this slide you can see that in these acquaintances some literary forms are given to you for further study. In the blue row you can see that lyric, ode, sonnet, elegy and song. So these 5 literary forms, especially the forms of poetry, are given to learn more or to study. In the gray row, you can see that more 5 literary forms are given, and these are dramatic monologue, novel, autobiography, satire and allegory. So here, dear students, you can see the difference between that blue row and a gray row. In the blue line, you can see that these are all the various forms of poetry, and in the gray row you can see that all these 5 forms of literature are the form of prose. So this is all about your syllabus of BA semester 2 of paper number CC 201. So dear friends, let us talk about Robert Burns and his literary career. So Robert Burns is a celebrated Scottish poet and a songwriter. He is widely considered as the national poet of Scotland and was an important influence on the early Romantic movement. His time period is 1759 to 1796. Robert Burns was born at Alloway near Ayr on January 25, 1759. So here you can see that Robert Burns was a Scottish poet, frequently counted as a romantic poet. But his works also make him as a transition poet, as each incorporate both new classical and romantic verse ideals. That is why he is known as a transition poet. So here, dear students, you can see that Robert Burns is also known as Scotland's national poet. He is recognized in the world for his works, focusing on the universal themes, and that is of love and nature. He has an important influence on the early Romantic movement, and he also influenced poets like William Wordsworth, S.T. Coleridge and P.B. Shelley. So dear students, he also influenced a Scottish writer, and that is Litran. Burns' style is marked by spontaneity, sincerity and directness. So like William Blake, he was also a born poet. He came to fame as a poet when he was only 27 years old, and his lifestyle of wine, women and song made him famous all over Scotland. So Robert Burns was educated briefly in Alloway before going to Ayr. But his financial position was not that much fair in those days. So because of the poor financial condition, because of the poor financial position, Burns was forced to work as a farm laborer. Burns had to work at a variety of laboring jobs. But in his spare time, he began to compose poetry and songs. So in his spare time, or what we can say that in the leisure time, he practiced to compose poetry and some songs. So from this point we can see that poverty and struggle was the part of Burns' early life. In 1786, his first works were published under the title Poems, chiefly in the Scottish dialect. And these included some works, and they are To a Mouse and the Holy Fair, the Scots Musical Museum, which is in 5 volumes. So the critical reception and relative success of this publication encouraged Robert Burns to remain in Scotland, and he moved to Edinburgh. He was also initiated into the Masons and became the poet laureate of the Edinburgh Freemasons. Burns collected a rich diversity of Scottish folk songs, sometimes improving upon them and also including his own. These were published as the Scots Musical Museum that I have quoted in this slide, and it is in 5 volumes over a period of 16 years. In 1795, he was moved by the events of the French Revolution, and his French Revolution and its clarion call for equality. He wrote in a mixture of English and a Scottish Lowland dialect. Robert Burns is chiefly admired in the world because of his songs. His genius was essentially lyrical, and the seeking qualities of his genius is his good humor. Burns is one of the great humorists of the world. His poetry is intensely personal. The main features of his poetry include his feelings for nature, for humor, and above all, for humanity. His careful observation and delicate appreciation of natural scenes may be seen in his works like Thou Lingering Star, The Banks o' Doon, To a Mouse, and he has a satirical vein. He sympathizes not only with humanity but also with living creatures. So, Robert Burns died on July 21st, 1796 of rheumatic fever, and he was buried in St. Michel's, Dumfries. So after his death, his reputation blossomed and he became an icon of Scottish culture. He was also celebrated in Russia as a poet of the people. So, dear students, Matthew Arnold, a great poet and critic, denied Burns a place in the front ranks of poets on the ground that because of his excessive devotion to Scottish drink, reason, Scottish manners. Arnold denies Burns at the front position in the first rank poets. It's right, but this narrow judgment has never been overruled by literary world at large. So, dear friends, it is all about Robert Burns. and his lifespan and his major works and his literary personality. So dear students, in the next part of this video lecture, I will make discussion on Robert Burns' very famous poem, A Red, Red Rose. So I hope you will like the content of this YouTube video, and if you like it, please press like button, and it will give some moral support. So please share and subscribe this channel. Thanks a lot for watching this video, and don't forget to watch the next part or the second part of this YouTube video lecture.